Here at Boise, they even choreograph the crowd. Those are not placards. In those different sections, they're wearing the different colors as you look down on a sold-out Bronco Stadium. The weather is a story here tonight. 89 degrees at kickoff. Light breeze and clear, but it is warm for this September night in Boise, Idaho. Now, Mike Riley just won the coin toss, and he will receive. He wants to go on the attack early in this game. And on the other side, a man who has never lost on the blue as a head coach. Chris Peterson, 26-0. So this crowd is all revved up. Pull up your favorite chair, get your favorite beverage, come on in and sit down and measure these Broncos. How good are they? Bronzeman out of the end zone, coming to the 20-yard line, and we will be taking a look at a 6'1", 209-pound quarterback, Herbie, from Santa Monica, California, Ryan Katz.
Yeah, Katz has a big arm, very mobile, great athlete, still kind of settling in, making his third career start, taking over for Sean Canfield this year at Oregon State. And Brent, I think there's so much upside. It's just a matter of him getting more and more reps and playing in these kind of atmospheres until he's able to settle down. But tonight, a big thing for him will be just trying to be able to make good decisions and not turn the football over, especially early in this game.
There's the fly sweep motion, and going through is James. They're going to fire it to him on first down in the flat, and he picks up about 3 yards as we check out the Beaver offense here tonight. The skill players. Herbie's already talked about the Rogers brother. Now, they are not twins. James is a year older, and he's the senior. Keep an eye, though, on Jordan Bishop. He's a track star behind this offensive line. Michael Phillip will draw the start tonight at left tackle instead of Wilder McAndrews. And here we go with second down and 7. James goes out far to the right. Play fake. Fumble. Katz recovers it. Hit by Jamar Taylor on the corner blitz.
Brent, what a great job of bringing the pressure here and sneaking right here. One thing about Halahune, who's a tight end, that's a tough block for him, especially with the speed of Taylor coming off the edge there. They had James Rogers one-on-one. Katz held on to the ball just a little bit too long, and a great call by Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator by Boise there on a second down.
Need 15. Katz can't find a man open, and he'll go down at the 9-yard line. That defensive front, Billy Wynn and Shea McClellan, two big-timers. Billy Wynn, number 90, is as good as any defensive lineman out in the West.
Great indication of the speed of that front four, Brent. You talked about Billy Wynn, and it's really the entire group that we saw against Virginia Tech consistently getting pressure that night on Tyrod Taylor. They're off to a good start tonight here against Oregon State.
So Johnny Hecker is a high school quarterback. He'll punt it. Titus Young, one of the dangerous wide receivers, is also a big-time return man, and he waits on the sideline and out of bounds, but excellent field position for the Broncos with their first series. So winning the toss and electing to receive, a gamble that did not pay off. And now the junior from Prosser, Washington, which is about 300 miles from Boise, Kellen Moore, will bring the offense out.
28-1, 16-0 as far as playing in this stadium. What he can do, Brent, is he just brings that composure and an ability to tack downfield. Probably the area that this offense has improved the most from last year to this year.
The window dressing on the formation. Shift the strength. Doug Martin, a hard-running tailback, will start, and Kellen changes up. He'll drop back into the gun, and he'll put it up on first down. Throws in underneath, and stepping out for the first down is Tyler Shoemaker, a junior from nearby Meridian, Idaho.
Keep talking about his composure, Brent, but really the decision-making that goes along with his composure, the accuracy, making that check, as you said, seeing the coverage that he wanted, and knowing as he got the snap exactly where he wanted to go with the football by the time he received the snap from the center. DJ
Harper, number 6, checks in as a tailback, and play action from under center, and they throw back incomplete. They wanted Harper slipping out of the backfield. Let's take a look at this offense, and it is a dangerous one. These are the weapons. They will use 3 running backs, but 2 fine wide receivers from California, Pettis and Young. Tyler Shoemaker made a catch earlier. There's the offensive line. Their 5 best offensive linemen. Then they find places for them to play. Thomas Bird, they tell us, has done a great job as a center, junior from California. Second and 10. Harper picks up the rush man, and there is Titus Young being knocked out of bounds as we take a look at the Beaver defense. Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator, and he knows what he's up against here tonight. Paya, number 54, could be an All-American defensive lineman. You want to keep an eye on him in the middle. These are the fellows who have to grow up here tonight. They have got to contain the outside. They didn't do a good job against TCU in that area. Playmaker back there is Lance Mitchell, junior from Pasadena. And now Doug Martin is back on 3rd and 3. He's a hard running back. Play fake, they're going to keep it in the air. Throw to him for the first down. You can see how hard he is to bring down, and on their first possession, Boise State threatening.
Brent, you've talked a couple times about the window dressing and the pre-snap movement and in the play action. And I'll tell you what it does is it creates confusion. And that time, Brandon Harden, the corner, got caught up that time, keeping his eyes in the backfield. And that's what the coaches told us from Oregon State. The importance about having discipline and being able to read your keys and keep you in position to make plays. That time they lost Martin coming out of the backfield.
16 yards to Martin, and Moore has thrown for 33, stumbles coming back, regains his balance, fires end zone, incomplete, penalty. Pettis was fouled by James Dockery.
Looked like Dockery's right arm came right over the top, just got a hold of the back of the jersey of Pettis.
This is a WAC officiating crew. Of course, this is the last year that Boise State will be playing in this conference.
Pass interference on the defense, number 2. Automatic first down, the 2-yard line. First down.
I think Dockery's saying that this is a pretty good play. Let's take a close look. This slant, something that Pettis likes to do. Dockery comes in there, and you can see actually the right hand, not just so much up on the shoulder, but on the right hip of Pettis, preventing him from being able to reach out there. He definitely pulled him back towards him. Made a good play with the left hand, but the right hand definitely pulled him in.
Martin with a blocker in front of him. Movement. I believe the lineman, Herbie, might have moved, and that is Myers, Brunell Myers.
Full start. Offense number 65, 64. First down.
That is a big error when you get down to this part of the field. Those false starts down there, 5 yards. Might not seem, Herbie, it's like a lot to folks, but it makes all the difference in the world for a play caller.
And a rare mistake from Chris Peterson's offense. I mean, typically they get down into this area and they're pretty dialed in and pretty fundamentally sound. And Myers has been in and out of the lineup along with Matt Slater, maybe a little anxious there early in the game at right tackle.
And here comes Martin. And he is trapped. Nowhere for Doug Martin on that play. So now you would expect Boise State to start putting it up down here.
Yeah, they love play action throughout the whole field, but especially when they get down into the red zone, they get inside that 10-yard line, they start to look for their matchups that they like. Kellen Moore's success with play action very well seen here with the numbers, and it's again something they like, a little trickeration, try to find that tight end.
Instead, they give it to Martin, and his helmet comes off. A couple of the Beavers thought, hey, that's the football, but it was a helmet. Gabe Miller is there defensively.
And you know, it's early in the game, Brent, but on the road with all this hype for both teams, kind of a big play coming up here on third down. Oregon State needs to find a reason to believe that they have a chance to win this game. You come up with a pretty good goal line stand here, force a field goal on the road, that can help your cause. This is big.
Pettis is a key target down here. He's the taller of their ace receivers. And Kellen's going to flip it to him, and he's going to throw on the end around. Touchdown! And there is the trickeration. Tommy Gallarda, the tight end, on the receiving end as they bring Austin Pettis around, and he throws a touchdown pass.
He's lined up in the right side, and Pettis, Brent, as you said, gets so much attention for his ability to catch the ball, but he's a tremendous athlete. He's actually the holder for the field goals and the extra points. Does a very good job. As soon as he handled the football, he knew that he had his man, and he just floated it up into the corner for that touchdown.
Bronsman tacks on the extra point. So Austin Pettis throws for a touchdown. He didn't play much last week. Coach's decision. Come on back and we'll show you why he was in Peterson's doghouse. The view down on the famed blue turf. About 35,000 capacity here in Boise, Idaho. The Broncos have jumped ahead. So we've seen Austin Pettis against Virginia Tech catch a pair, block a punt. Now he is thrown for a touchdown, and here comes James Rogers trying to get field position. He's upended on the 26-yard line. You know, there are any number of NFL scouts here tonight, and one of the players to keep an eye on is a senior from Anaheim, and Pettis showed him he can throw a little bit. That is nice touch. But last week he was deep in Coach Peterson's doghouse. Watch what happens as he goes in for the touchdown. Young man, come on over here to the sideline. That's not how we celebrate at Boise. And he did not return for an offensive snap. He was the holder, and Coach telling us yesterday, Herbie, if he'd have realized it, he would have taken him out those duties also. So here come Oregon State. Herbie, what does Ryan Katz have to do?
Well, Ryan Katz needs some help with pass protection. They've got some open receivers downfield, but they need to help him out. Give him a chance.
Here comes Quiz straight ahead. That was a nice hole to the 32-yard line.
I think, again, I think the passing game is going to be the most important thing tonight with Ryan Katz. You know, Ryan Katz has a lot of ability, a lot of upside. Like a lot of young quarterbacks, he has a lot of confidence in his arm and his ability. Problem is for him at this point, he needs sometimes to come off his primary receiver, check it down to Jacquizz Rodgers. In fact, on a lot of his passes, throwing it and checking it down to number one is a big part of this offense.
That's Bishop, the truck man, coming over to the left, and now there is movement. Number 77 was in an early duel there. That's Michael Phillip.
Offside.
In that neutral zone. Let's go to Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York for an update. Robert.
All right, Brent, here's a taste of what's going on the ESPN family of networks. Our primetime pulse. South Carolina leading Auburn 14-7. Oklahoma and Cincinnati. Sooners doubling up the Bearcats on the road. Of course, they get the Texas Longhorns next week in Dallas. And number 9, Florida, trying to make it 24 in a row against Kentucky, up 21-0.
First and 10, right straight ahead, and there are some big holes in the middle with this Lennon call. The center is a senior from Olympia, Washington. Burke Ellis and Grant Johnson, they're blowing some big holes open down there.
And Brett, you talked about what the fly sweep can do with James Rogers. Just by him going in motion and as fast as he accelerates, they hand it to him so often. It's enough to make the linebackers and the defensive ends on the backside respect that part of the offense, and it can open up some seams if you can block the guys on the inside of the defensive line of Boise State.
And Herbie, folks saw Johnson with that seal-off block with the line shifting, and this time Boise State equal to the task against Quiz, and that's Chase Baker, defensive lineman. Well, Herbie, when you take a look at the rankings, and remember they have played, well, TCU is a ranked team. Louisville, they've been in the arena with 2 of them, but they are way down in the rankings.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is still breaking in a young quarterback in Ryan Katz. And once they become more balanced and he starts to become more of a threat in throwing the ball, that'll have a tendency to open up the running game, and really the entire offense can get more in rhythm.
Boise rushes 4. Katz with the big arm, deflected, incomplete. I thought it was a little bit behind the target that time. Halahouni, and that's Joe Halahouni.
And it's a little thing, but Brent, just by a foot to the, just behind to the backside, he's got to step on it. If he throws that in front and leads Halahouni, he's got a chance at least to make a play. But this, again, this is part of being a young quarterback right now. Just by missing him, just by a yard back to the backside, instead of having a first down, now it's 3rd and 10.
Katz in a foot race. Can't find anybody, and he will step out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. One of the Beavers asking for the yellow to come flying, but Hunter White was the defensive back on that side. And so the Beavers cross midfield, but they are forced to punt it away. And here comes Johnny Hecker again. And that means that the ever-dangerous Titus Young will go back deep.
Johnny Hecker had a great fake punt in their opener against TCU in a similar position of the field. He is a former high school quarterback and can throw the football.
Caught and back into the field of play. Beautiful special teams coverage. Just inside the 1-yard line, and what a job number 14 Poyer does. A 47-yard punt.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars side by side at Autotrader.com. And Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands?
The Owyhee River, about an hour out of here, and the average brown 20-inch, and that head guide there, Dan Bovenkamp, has been fly fishing that river since 1985. It's a shame, Herbie. We invite you up to Montana here. There's a penalty on this snap, and Boise State's trying to get out of a bad field position situation right here after that punt.
Offside defense, number 74. 5-yard penalty.
Do you have the technique down, Brent? The fly fishing technique? That takes a little time, right?
It is.
It takes a little time. Well, you just said that Boise State was penned, and Oregon State has a chance to maybe make some plays in the very first snap. They give them 5 yards to help them, give them a little breathing room.
Yeah, that was Kevin Fram. Doug Martin is the big back here. Great play action by Kellen Moore. Incomplete, out of bounds. And third member of our team, Aaron Andrews, is here. And Aaron, what was pregame like with Boise State?
Well, with 5 minutes left in that Alabama-Arkansas game, Brent, both teams were out on the field practicing. Well, the Broncos, not a lot of them were out on the field. Actually, I caught up with them after Alabama was able to pull off that win in Fayetteville. And I asked Kellen Moore, hey, did you have the Arkansas game on? He smiled very big and said, no, what happened? Chris Peterson did tell me, yes, they were watching, and it doesn't matter who won. Who do you guys believe?
I think they were pretty dialed in.
2nd and 5. Here's Martin, short of the first down. Dwight Roberson, and do we have another flag? Yes, we do.
Threw it right usually where they're going to be a hold possibly here on Boise State.
Holding. Offense, number 59. Half the distance to the goal. 3rd down.
Will Lawrence gets caught here. And, you know, Oregon State, they had a big theme this week about coming into this environment and how tough it is to play Boise State on the blue turf. And it was really about being in attack mode. All week long, they got attention for painting their practice field blue. But really, Mike Riley telling us last night, it's been about being in an attack mode on both sides of the football. And this is a good chance for them to try to live up to what they've been talking about all week.
Battling his way out is Martin, and he is stoned by that Beaver defensive front. Tuimane, the senior from Hawaii, up there to help out.
And we just talked about that, kind of being in that attack mode and coming downhill, and those linebackers that have been very, very criticized in Corvallis about their poor performance and what they've done in their first 2 games. That time coming down, and Brent, we love the backs on this team led by Doug Martin, and for you to hit him at the line of scrimmage like that, you know that Oregon State was really coming after him, locked in.
Back in that passing formation. Kellen steps up, hits the underneath man. That is Pettis, who threw the touchdown pass, and he is short of the first down. That will force Boise to punt, and this should give the Beavers. Hold on, they're moving. It was a first down. I didn't think he had it.
Yeah, they got a favorable spot there, and they're going to move the sticks. And the precision of this passing game built around the timing and rhythm of not just Kellen Moore, but also you can see Pettis here. Boy, they gave him a very favorable spot.
First down and 10.
That's a fumble.
Incomplete. Is that lateral? Out of bounds. And that will maintain possession for Boise State. Live ball. If it's a lateral.
Something to watch throughout this game, and we'll take a look at this. This is a great view. You can see it's definitely a lateral. I'm trying to catch this Oregon State defense off guard, but Lance Mitchell right there, the safety. Even if Pettis made that catch, he had Mitchell, probably the best defender on this Oregon State defense on the back end anyway, there to be able to make a play. But Oregon State has had a hard time this year on third downs, really one of the worst in the entire country. They have a hard time getting off the field, and so far tonight, Boise State 3 for 3 on their third down chances.
DJ Harper, the speed back, is back in. Option to Harper. Got a piece of the corner, but couldn't do much because of Lance Mitchell, the 6'2", 207-pound junior.
Sets up another third down, and you can see 116th in the country, 56% of the time. Their opponent is converting, and a lot of those, Brent, if you look back and think of the film, what we saw with Andy Dalton, sometimes quarterback scrambles from Dalton, sometimes just having the chance at 3rd and 3 to be able to scramble and make a play. Andy Froman from Louisville making plays with his feet. So I don't think Kellen Moore has that kind of threat on third down, but they are 3 for 3 so far tonight.
Needs 8 here. Gets it off, incomplete. Forced to punt.
Now they got some pressure on him there, but that was a matchup that Kellen Moore will take every single time with Pettis matched up against Cameron Collins, a linebacker. But give credit to the guys up front, because Paya, 54, got in there. The experienced Gabe Miller, the speed of the front 4 from Oregon State that time, got to Kellen Moore just in time before he was able to find that matchup with Pettis against Cameron Collins.
Now we're going to see the all-purpose wonder of the Beavers. James Rogers is standing just on the other side of the 50. Kyle Brontzman. Try to corral him at number 8. Going to bring it across the field. Looking for a lane. Got one. Needs a block. Cuts inside. Needs one more. Headed for the end zone. What a return. Touchdown. 53 yards. Folks, he's magical on the return.
Woo! This is what can happen with one of the best return men in the country. Brent, you were calling it and saying he just needs a crease. Just somebody give him a crease. He's able to find it, and then for patience down the sideline, allowing the convoy to have enough time to get in front of him. He picks a couple blocks at about the 20-yard line up and into the end zone, and that's what you needed from Oregon State early in this game to change the complexion around playing on the road in this hostile environment.
Justin Cahoon adds the extra point. are your friends. Oregon State does not fear the blue. They are here to stay.
Brian Watkins does a really good job here, Brent, of more than anything, just not coming up and making the block. 38 right there, declines. It kind of holds back. And if he made that block, obviously it's a push in the back, and then the rest of this doesn't happen. But a great decision to let off of that block potentially and avoid that clip of the push in the back.
Look at his total yardage. And now, here comes Boise, and it will be Titus Young. Slips on the brand new carpet this year, and he is out of bounds on the far side. Well, Monday night, Herbie, you and I will be listening to Mike Tirico and the guys. What a battle this is now. How about Cutler and the Bears being unbeaten? Rodgers and the Packers stocking a Super Bowl. This is big time now. 8:30 p.m.
Oh, and it's the oldest rivalry in the NFL.
It is indeed.
That is, anytime those two teams get together, a lot of fun. And with the Bears off to a good start, a lot at stake there.
Absolutely. There'd be a great crowd in Soldier Field on Monday night.
Let's see how Kellen Moore responds to that big return.
Is DJ Harper in the backfield, and they'll try to run the ball a little bit right into the arms of Reuben Robinson, pushing the Mike linebacker or the middleman back a little bit.
As much as Boise State has come out in this game and thrown a lot of the time with Kellen Moore off play action, you know, this entire offense is predicated upon being physical up front with an experienced offensive line, and then the running of Doug Martin and DJ Harper, and then they typically like to mix in some double moves of the play action and get the ball thrown downfield, but it's all based off being physical up front.
2nd and 2, Harper picks up the first down, and he slips too. Could wind up being a story on a brand new turf, and he's limping a little bit. He once blew out a knee and he was sidelined, and he goes back over there for a little attention right now.
Right towards the end there, you always worry about that, whether it's blue turf or green turf. Oh boy, those are scary. Luckily he's able to get off the field, and hopefully he'll be able to return.
Keep an eye on that story. Martin checks back in. They also have a third back in Jeremy Avery. Movement, and they will stop it. They will whistle this dead.
That may have been on the receiver from Boise State up at the top of the screen.
False start, number 82. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That was Geraldo Hiwatt was guilty there, and let's check in down below with Aaron.
Brent, you mentioned the field, guys slipping. When you walk on it, and that's what I'm doing right now, it's still pretty lumpy. There's some good bumps in it. It hasn't really settled at all. You could pretty much trip over an area that just hasn't really sunken into the ground at all.
Interesting, because those of you who've watched this field before, remember how shiny it used to look? Well, this one's not nearly as shiny as Kellen completes it to the outside, and they gang up on Young, and there is the medical attention, and that is a story with DJ Harper down there on the sideline. He blew it out against Fresno State a year ago, and he's the fastest of their running backs.
And also, because he and Doug Martin are interchangeable, they're so similar with how physical they are, and then they like to throw in Jeremy Avery, more of a scat back, but it would be a tough loss to lose DJ Harper.
Second and 10. Kellen Moore showing escapability and then throws it out of bounds. But let me show you what I mean. And many of you remember when we used to tune in for the late game involving Boise State. You might have thought it was raining out there because it was kind of shiny, and that was the turf. And they came in, and I think it was about $800,000 to install this new turf. And this one does look much better on television, I will tell you that. But when you're here in person, Herbie, it is blue.
Yeah, it really is. And some of the opposing coaches feel that the blue matches the blue uniforms and that this team is hiding in the turf.
No question. 3rd and 10. Throwing, and a beautiful catch by Young. And how about that throw, Herbie?
Boy, that is an amazing throw right over the shoulder of his receiver, Titus Young, and he got a matchup that he loved, Jordan Poyer, who's a safety in a corner all by himself on an island. This is going to be one of the key matchups tonight. Can Oregon State, when they bring pressure, hold up in one-on-one coverage? And he gets just enough time. He gives a little shoulder fake to try to keep the safety to the middle of the field, and he just lays it right over the shoulder of Titus Young. Perfect throw.
I got to tell you, and Poyer with pretty good coverage on that play. He was right there.
He was.
And they come back now with the running play on first down. So Harper, we are told, is back up and seems ready to come back into the game when they need him. So that's good news from the sideline. There he is with the helmet on.
Pettis up to the top of the screen. Again, the guy that they love to go to along with the tight ends in this area.
Martin battering ahead.
It's going to be tough sledding, I think, tonight for Doug Martin and for DJ Harper against this Oregon State defense. The defensive line, Stephen Paya, 54, gets most of the attention, and he's one of the top defensive tackles in the country, probably a future first-rounder. But Taylor Henry does a nice job off the edge. Brendan Olander, another defensive tackle, holding up okay. Gabe Miller is an experienced defensive end, 99. Tell you, all four of these guys are playing pretty well and trying to defend this physical running attack from Boise State.
Masaniai is in the middle of that as a nose guard. So as John Saunders told you earlier in the pregame show, it was a wild and woolly day. I think the lead story has got to be that Texas loses, and that's Rick Neuheisel's easily his definitive game as head coach at UCLA. That was the biggest victory that Rick has had since he became head coach of the Bruins.
Really a big opportunity with UCLA beating Houston last week, and a lot of people said, well, it was Houston. But the way they played today, that was more UCLA winning and not so much Texas losing. Texas has their issues as they get ready for Oklahoma. They can't run the football. But it was impressive to see the Bruins on the road, and good for Rick to win that big game.
Texas may have been peaking a little bit at Oklahoma.
I'll tell you, that offense has been struggling all year, and this is the first time they played athletes good enough to expose them. They can't run the football. They weren't doing much in their passing game. Going up against Oklahoma's skill next week defensively, that's going to be a real challenge for Mac Brown and the Longhorns.
3rd and 4. Kellen looking back to the right. Complete for a 1st and goal inside the 5 to Kyle Efall.
Again, good patience here, buying as much time as he can. And, you know, the one thing that was key is the pass protection. Efall is able to find the seam and eventually break free. But Kellen Moore hung in there as long as he possibly could until finally Glover, the defensive end, got to him.
How about cool hand Kellen? He is hard to sack, knows how to step away from pressure.
No doubt.
He's tough to deal with. And this presentation of Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The second quarter deadlocked at 7 with Kirk Herbstreit and Aaron Andrews. I'm Brent Musburger. I know some of you are just getting home from your games. Oregon State won the flip here where we are, and they had to punt it away. And Boise State marched right down for the first touchdown of the game. Then James Rogers electrified this crowd with a 54-yard punt return touchdown. Now the 9th play of this drive is coming up. And here comes Boise State trying to haul it in, and the running back is powerful Doug Martin. He is smacked.
Man, they're playing out there. I mean, Oregon State, considering the way this game is gone, could be down by a lot more, but they're showing a lot of fight. Remember, their theme is about playing and kind of taking the fight to Boise State. And they may give up a touchdown here, but I'll tell you what, they're being a lot more physical in this game than anything that they've shown in their first 2 games against TCU and Louisville. Now you got to watch the play action here. Fake it up the middle to Martin, throw to the backside, back line to the tight end.
Here's the play action. Kellen comes up, looking receiver, drops it off, incomplete. And Dan Paul, the fullback, was looking for a flag, and they picked him up coming out of the backfield. Brandon Harden was on top of him.
The backside tight end is actually right here. He's going to try to get to the back line, and that's one of the things that Kellen Moore does. Typically waits his time and eventually likes to find the man that eventually has a chance to get open. Efall is covered, flat out covered, so he tries to go to the fullback in the flat Paul. Nobody there. He has to just throw it away.
Threw a couple of touchdown passes to Paul with this play. And now Joe Southwick checks in. He's a runner. Here he comes, and he's throwing for a loss. A beautiful tackle by Brennan Olander, the senior from Grants Pass, Oregon. One time a walk-on. He didn't walk on this play.
No, he's got great quickness and is able to fight through there. Again, keep talking about this front four and everything that they have an ability to do, and that's all about speed, quickness, and acceleration. It's a pretty athletic quarterback in there trying to run away from him, and he chased him down from the backside.
So they will settle for a Bronzman field goal from the left hash. This has been his bugaboo. 21 yards on its way, and he nails that one. Boise State leads, but they had to settle for a field goal. Remember, they were first and goal at the 2-yard line. Seven o'clock in the Mountain Network, and as you take a look at the Pacific Life game summary, pretty lopsided except for one player.
Yeah, if Oregon State would have looked at these yards, the return yards are huge, but to be outgained at this point on the field with their offense 125-10, and they're down 10-7 after that goal line stand, I think they'd be very, very happy.
They kicked it away from Rogers. Jordan Poyo. And he returns it to the 28-yard line as we go to Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York for an update.
All right, Brent, this Taco Bell studio update has South Carolina taking advantage of an Auburn fumble. Alshon Jeffrey from Stephen Garcia. Second time that combo's worked. South Carolina up 20-7. And look at number 8 Oklahoma, just up 2 in the fourth quarter on the road in Cincinnati.
So on a day when both Texas and Oklahoma are peeking ahead to their Red River rivalry game next week in Dallas. So here we go now. And young Ryan Katz. He's only 1 of 2 here tonight, trying to rally this Beaver offense. Puts it in the hands of Quiz, and he is tripped up down at the 31-yard line. Boy, that defensive front, Herbie, underrated as far as Boise State is concerned. And Brian Hout, who has moved permanently to Mike linebacker. He was a defensive end earlier this year, and now he's back at Mike, and he makes a stop. Young man's out of Coeur d'Alene up in northern Idaho. Beautiful part of the world. Second down and 6. There from the Wildcat. The direct handoff to James. And James Rogers is thrown down at the first down marker.
Hand it off to James Rogers. Get a good block by brother Jacquiz Rogers. Enough of a seam there to be able to pick up that first down, and this is that fly sweep. There's Quiz Rogers helping his brother out. Picks up a big block against Winston Venable, the leading tackler for Boise State. And that's all you need. Just cut him down and give James Rogers enough room, as we saw in that punt return, to accelerate upfield in a hurry. Love how Oregon State's taking the game out of Ryan Katz's hands, just trying to let him settle in. Now I think he settles in. Now you got to go back to him throwing the football some.
Hand off to Quiz. Behind the offensive line here, Rimmers Ellis, Lennon Cole, Johnson, and Phillip.
Getting a good push up front. That offensive line and against this defensive line that I think you and I and anybody who's really watched Boise State has a lot of respect for. But here in this drive, they're getting a pretty good push there. And again, with these backs, they're undersized. They accelerate, great speed, led by Jacquiz Rogers. Just give him a little bit of room to get to the second level, and he can get you some good yards.
On the rotation of the defensive lineman, Pete Kwiatkowski's gone to some of his backups here. And they certainly stood tall on that particular play. There's one of them. Gerald Root, Jr. from right here in Boise, made that stop.
And this is the challenging thing for Danny Langsdorff, is you start to run the ball effectively and you start to hang your hat on it a little bit. You take the game away from Ryan Katz and you rely on it maybe a little bit too much. It starts to become a little predictable. Boise State stops you on second down, and now you put Katz into a third and long situation, which has been tough all year for this Oregon State offense.
They have inserted number 2, Marcus Wheaton, into the offense. He's a burner. Katz fires, got him. That's who they went to, was Marcus Wheaton, the sophomore from Chandler, Arizona. The speed back had just come off the sideline.
Boy, the safety is on the hash, coming over right there. Aliko comes in there, and when you throw a ball between a safety and a corner, you have to put it on a rope, and that's exactly what he did. Good job, of course, by Wheaton holding on, but Ryan Katz makes a heck of a throw to squeeze that into coverage before Aliko could get over there to make the play.
Danny Langsdorff upstairs signaling the plays down. Got a first down after that 20-yard gain. Rogers sidesteps, picked up no more than a yard on that play. And that was Hout again, Byron Hout.
Talked about Danny Langsdorff, and he and Mike Riley both telling us last night that when we really get our offense going, he's off to the right there with the hat pulled down tight, but when we really get our offense going, it's not just balance, but it's run the football, mix in the play action pass, little cat and mouse game, try to keep the defense off balance. But for the most part, outside of that big third down pass, most part it's been the running game here on this drive.
His father, Ed, is a scout for the San Diego Chargers. Worked with Mike Riley when Mike was the head coach of the Chargers, and Ed is here tonight. Second down and 9. Play action, Katz going to go with that deep arm toward the end zone. Incomplete. Aaron Nichols, the intended receiver, he was sandwiched down there going into the end zone. You can see Johnson saying, no way, not on my watch.
No shot.
Don't bring that stuff in here on me.
Well, Nichols and Wheaton, who we've already seen, and Jordan Bishop, Joe Halahuni. You have to help me out with that one. Halahuni. 87. These guys have to be able to step up and take some of the pressure off the Rogers brothers, because defense is clearly key in on number 1 and number 8, and occasionally you need somebody else to be able to take the pressure off by making some plays.
Want to set the screen, in trouble. Quiz Rogers was in the neighborhood, and there is McClellan. He played for a very small high school, very close to here, and was an all-everything. Linebacker, running back, now he's a fine defensive end.
I think this is a good job here by Boise State, being able to sniff this out right away. Wynn, who's a defensive tackle, they moved him in a third and long situation out to the end, and he does a good job of remembering the scouting report and sniffing out Quiz Rogers, so he didn't even have a chance to catch that screen.
Hecker with Young, and remember, he let a punt go that was downed inside the 5. Young races over, fields this one on the 16 and cuts back. He's short of the 20-yard line, but he wasn't going to let that one bounce toward the end zone. Learned his lesson last time, so we'll take a break. The Battle of the Blue. Boise State leads Oregon State by a field goal.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online, only at southwest.com. Cheez-It, because at Cheez-It, real cheese matters. And Chevrolet.
We welcome you back to Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines. Good news for the Broncos. DJ Harper is back on the field. Here's Kellen Moore, the young man from Prosser, Washington. Firing complete. And I can hear the applause from Prosser. About 5 hours and 16 minutes if you drive from here is where Kellen Moore grew up. And the Princess Theater in downtown Prosser shows his games on the big screen. So nice to have all you folks with us from Prosser, and I know you are really fond of number 11.
How cool is that?
They're great.
That's from tonight. I mean, that is good. I think they got a kick out of how we get a little Princess Theater, got a little love there.
Exactly. Play action and it going, shaken free. First man could not bring him down. Fires complete, and that's Austin Pettis. But how about the way, and let's hear it up in Prosser, Kellen Moore shook the defender Brandon Harden, who was coming with a blitz.
He comes with a blitz right off of the defense, off the edge there. Really catches Moore, I think, in the offense off guard. But a great job by Kellen Moore, not just escaping and showing some strength to get away from Harden, but what I love to see is he focuses downfield, sets his feet quickly, and then throws an accurate ball downfield to where only his guy can make the catch.
26-yard gain. Boise State back at midfield, leading it by 3. Down the sideline and caught one-handed by Titus Young.
Brett, the multiple wide receiver formations are starting to expose Oregon State in space, and Harden is a big physical corner at 6'2", 215. He's actually in pretty good position, much like earlier Jordan Poyer was. But the ball placement, which was a big emphasis of this quarterback Kellen Moore coming back this year, put it right where only his man can make that one-handed grab.
Young with 4 catches for 87 yards. Moore has thrown already for 168 yards. And he's looking for more. Touchdown! Austin Pettis caught it going in. And Austin Pettis has just scored his 4th touchdown as a receiver. Remember, he also threw a touchdown pass earlier tonight.
And Brent, that's Oregon. That is Boise State's offense in a nutshell. 4 plays, 81 yards, and Kellen Moore putting on a clinic on how to distribute the football to different receivers and the accuracy to go along with it. How about that throw right there to Austin Pettis?
Kyle Brontzman knocks it through. It's Saturday night on the blue carpet, and the Broncos are rolling.
This is a great look at the anticipation from Kellen Moore with his receiver Austin Pettis. Watch when he releases the ball, and look at the receiver Pettis. His head right now just focusing on coming down to the football. The ball's already out of the hands of Kellen Moore. The timing, the anticipation, the hours that Pettis and Moore have been able to work together over the years, right there is exactly what makes Kellen Moore such a great quarterback.
Trevor Harmon kicking off. They rest Kyle Brontzman. He kicks off, punts, kicks extra points. Fielded now by Poyer as they continue to kick away from Rogers. Poyer with an alley. Cuts back, and he is near midfield. So Trevor Harmon, who is kicking off here tonight, comes up and makes a big tackle, but it is a 40-yard return. Watch him. Watch this young man.
Love to see the kickers in open field, and you hope that they catch a shoestring or an ankle. Good job there, my man.
Absolutely. So now Ryan Katz comes out. His team down 10. Of course, Brontzman will really be missed by Boise State next year, and there's a young man who's going to get a good look. Fire complete. Right into the middle, and that was Halahouni, Herbie.
Halahouni lined up as a tight end here and just comes right down the seam of this defense right towards you at home. And when you do this, you got to be able to throw it again on a line. And that's the second time we've seen tonight Ryan Katz and his arm strength, where he makes a quick decision, he locks in on who he wants to make the throw to, but he has the arm strength to be able to throw it in there with the velocity where his guy makes the catch, and then he gets down and gets ready to get hit.
We saw the replay. Jamar Taylor unloaded on him. First down and 10. Fake to the outside and back with Quiz. Well, it's time now, and this is a 2-part question. Herbie's going to get a bonus part of this, folks. As you know, Attaway, Doc. Boise State, and he loves the blue field. He thinks it's water out there. 71-2 since '99. Who did they lose to? Now, Herbie knows, okay? I know he knows. So, Herbie, here's the bonus. Who were the 2 quarterbacks who came in here and won games? You get a bonus part of this question.
Okay.
That is our Aflac trivia question. That's indeed. I got my ace thinking a little bit on this one now. Certainly not giving up on the running game here.
No, they're not, and I think you're starting to see that balance. I think that, again, that offensive line's getting a push, but I think that the thing that Oregon State's going to have to try to avoid are these third down and long situations. Because they've struggled, I don't think they have the confidence coming into this game, and it's one of those things that they have to be able to get in those 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 5 situations. They're 1 of 4 tonight on third down. That's a good read by the middle linebacker. We talked a lot about Hout and how he plays against the run at that Mike linebacker. Daryl Acree comes in this time also. You can see first the defensive lineman, Billy Wynn, gets a hand on it. The ball starts to flutter, and then Acree also got a hand on it and knocked it down. That time Cat's trying to force it into some tight coverage.
Justin Cahoot. A 41-yarder. Got it. Pulled back to within 7. Oregon State hanging in Boise. Boise, Idaho. Wonderful town here. People have been so nice. They love this football team. Harmon Killebrew is here tonight, Idaho native, and back in the days when this was a junior college, they recruited Harmon and his brother as football players. But the Minnesota Twins are forever grateful that he chose baseball. And Harmon, who still works some for the Twins, couldn't be happier about his organization. And he's a huge Boise State fan with us here tonight. That's out of bounds, and that will incur a penalty. And let's remind everybody that coming up on the Northwestern Mutual Halftime Report, John and Jesse will have all the day's big highlights. And hey, look at that hound retrieve the tee.
Very impressive.
That is very impressive.
Good technique there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so John and Jesse, they'll tell you how Bama survived the Arkansas scare and how the gutty little Bruins upset Texas today. Here he comes now. Hitchcock.
He's going to get tired by the end of the night, the way Boise State scores points.
Scott's got a dog named Waylon. He might be able to teach him how to do that. A lab.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he loves to play all day long. But look, he's got the Boise State thing around his neck.
Oh, you got to get a little squirt of water.
Love, huh? That might be a labradoodle. And here comes James Rogers.
Oregon State is thinking points, 24-10, 3:23 to go. They built a little bit of momentum, I think, here the last few possessions that they've had, and I think they're just kind of hanging around. And I think this drive down 14 right now before they get to halftime, especially since they took the ball to start the game and Boise State gets the ball to start the second half, I think it's important here to try to get some points and be aggressive.
Here's Quiz trying to stretch the defense. Picks up the first down into Boise State territory.
On the field before the game, looking at Quiz up close and looking at his physique, I thought, boy, he's really put on some weight. I think Mike Riley was telling me before the game, he's probably put on 10 to 12 pounds of pure muscle. He's become more physical. And you could see the way he's running tonight when he gets to those linebackers, much like Doug Martin, he's running through some of those arm tackles.
Gets a chance again. And he's wrestled down. We look at the Associated Press top 10. The ESPN drive to the national championship. Alabama and Ohio State, both winners. TCU was a winner Friday night against SMU. Oregon plays Arizona State a little bit later. Texas obviously is going to be falling, and so too will Arkansas. Question is whether or not the Longhorns will fall completely out of the top 10. They might. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. 2nd and 7. Quiz flares, safety valve, back into the middle, and beautiful to Halahouni. Now there is Ryan Katz learning how to come off his primary and pick up a secondary. Herbie, you've been talking about that.
And this time they use Rogers actually out of the backfield as a decoy off to the left. He's trying to get the attention of the defense. He's raising his left hand, trying to draw the linebackers to him, to the defense's right, to the offense's left, and then he comes back to Halahouni, who picks up some good yards. Well-designed play there by the Beavers.
Deflected again. That was hit by Venable. Winston Venable, one of the leaders, one of the vocal leaders of this defense, a senior from San Rafael, California.
Yep, comes on the blitz that time, gets his hands up. Great athlete. We've seen him now play not only this game, but the opener against Virginia Tech. An emotional leader, kind of the spark plug of this defense. Really a hard worker. And that time he was very instinctive, getting his hands up and knocking that ball down.
Katz has had a couple of balls deflected here in the second quarter. 2nd and 10. Steps away from the pressure, going to keep it. Can he get the first down? Yes, he does. That was a fine run by Ryan Katz. Clock will stop briefly. They've got 1:14 and all 3 timeouts.
Yeah, very important here, obviously, as you get down close to the half, of making good decisions. You're in field goal range. Young quarterback, is he going to force the throw? And this is where Katz is going to try to grow and evolve as a young guy. Does a good job here, not just being willing to just pick up a few yards, but accelerating and then getting across there for the first down. Great awareness.
3 receivers toward the top of your screen, including James Rogers. Katz fires back middle high, incomplete. Halahouni, the target.
He locked into Halahouni there, who's had a lot of success in his career latter part of last year down in the red zone. He's made some plays and he's got good size. Time the linebacker J.C. Percy had backed up far enough and was able to get in the way of that throw and affected the vision that time of Katz and Halahouni.
Jordan Bishop and James Rogers go off to the left. And now the line judge says that a timeout's been called by Riley and the Beavers.
Oregon State, first charge, timeout.
Fired him up.
Oregon State takes a timeout.
A little frustration there, I think, and some confusion. I think you could hear him say, what was the call? Meaning, why are you lined up where you lined up? And thankfully, they had a few timeouts in the bank, and they still have 2 left. 48 seconds to go with the ball at the 13-yard line on 2nd and 10. So still plenty of time, and those timeouts will help him.
Mike Riley grew up in Corvallis and played football for Bear Bryant at Alabama. That's right. His uncle was the baseball coach at Alabama. Told the Bear, I got this youngster up in Corvallis. Come on down. And so Mike Riley signs his Alabama letter of intent and becomes one of Bear's boys down there. He's just a wonderful, wonderful young man. Major Ogilvy, that fine running back, that's a first cousin of his. And he is so happy to be home in Corvallis. In underneath, and Quiz didn't get out of bounds. Tried to pick up some yardage there instead of stopping him. Of course, they do have a couple of timeouts remaining. He was battling. Johnson is there.
Use that second timeout here, 3rd down. Of course, anytime you can get the ball in the hands of James or Quiz Rogers with space, I think that's something that this offense is trying to make more and more a priority. If there's been any criticism at all of Katz this year, it's been holding on to the ball and trying to always drive the ball downfield and having that confidence in the big arm. They want to see him just drop it down to James and especially Quiz Rogers going one-on-one against a linebacker in space.
So the ball is on the 8-yard line. They've got a 3rd and 5 and 34 seconds. They would love to have the offense put a touchdown up. Their only touchdown, in case you just joined us, is a punt return by number 8, James Rogers. But Mike would have to settle for a field goal, you would think, in this situation if he doesn't make it here. If they come up with a 4th down from where they are, they can get a 1st down at the 3. So here we go. Palahuni pinches in tight on the right. He's number 87. Katz got to take off, got to throw it. It's end zone, jump ball, incomplete. Here's your 4th down. See Johnson back there, along with Iloka.
Well, Ryan Katz was very, very fortunate. Iloka gets up to knock that ball down, but I thought Johnson in front of the intended receiver, I thought he might be able to go up there and maybe have a shot at an interception.
So the field goal unit comes onto the field. Justin Cahute, the senior from Portland. This is a 25-yarder. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No way to end the first half.
Well, they did a great job, Brent, moving the ball down in the position, getting into the red zone. You're thinking that, hey, this offense all year, when they get in the red zone, they get points, and he just pushes it to the right there. Hit it pretty clean. He just missed it to the right. Ryan Katz in that offense moved the ball down the field and just getting points. You talked about it. Just getting it to 24-13, scoring before halftime. With Boise State taking the ball to start the 3rd quarter, that would have been big.
Yards, wide disparity. 282 total yards for Boise State to 125 for Oregon State. Let's go down now to Aaron Andrews with the coach.
Brent, thanks so much. Coach, Oregon State, 1 of 6 on 3rd down. What's been key in stopping them?
Well, we've been getting a little bit of pressure there, making them throw it. I think the backers are getting in throwing lanes and doing a good job there. Where we're hurting ourselves is field position on special teams. We got to take care of that.
How do you take care of it?
We got to get better kicks to start with. And then once we do get a good kick, we got to get the coverage down there. It's just a little bit of everything there.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Brent.
All right, Aaron. And a reminder to everybody now, some big stories this afternoon, so stay tuned for the Northwestern Mutual Halftime Report with John Saunders and Jesse Palmer coming at you right after this message. Well, the number 3 team in the nation with a 2-touchdown lead as we prepare to start the second half. And with Kirk Herbstreit and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brent Musburger. We welcome you back, and Boise State will have the ball to start.
Yeah, they get the ball and controlled the first half for the most part outside of the big return by James Rogers to kind of keep the Beavers in this game. But a lot of the first half was about Kellen Moore, a Heisman Trophy candidate. The play-action pass tonight has been really big for him, and it's set up because of their ability to run the ball, makes Oregon State appreciate, respect that. He gets outside, he has plenty of time, and this is that big touchdown throw down the sideline to Titus Young. Breaks contained, plenty of time downfield, and then was able to get it downfield where Young got behind coverage for that big touchdown.
And that was a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines playbook. And here comes Young. Sprinting and out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Titus Young in our Pacific Life game summary. Kellen Moore is so hard to bring down. coaches told us from Oregon State, you just can't get him on the ground, and that has been the case here tonight. And his two favorite targets both are seniors, and he has gone to them frequently here.
Oh, what a night for Titus Young. The one-handed catch, the big touchdown down the left sideline. 136 yards in the first half alone.
And Pettis threw for a touchdown, don't forget. On 1st and 10, bring it to Martin. And he picks up 8 yards on 1st down.
Really important for Oregon State to come out of the gate swinging because, as you know, Boise State is a 4-quarter team, and they play with the same intensity in the 3rd and 4th quarter as they do. There aren't any peaks and valleys when you play Boise, and Oregon State can't afford to take one series off, or this game could get out of hand in a hurry.
Martin again, no 1st down. Good defensive play that time by Tony Wilson, the sophomore linebacker from Salem, Oregon.
Tony Wilson with the ACL back last spring and kind of fought through a lot of rehab, put himself in a position to be a major contributor this year as only a sophomore. Those linebackers have been challenged against Doug Martin, and when DJ Harper's been in there running the football downhill right at him, and for the most part they've held up pretty strong against the run game.
Rolls the pocket to the left and fires, and it is complete again to Pettis. As you watch Kellen Moore, and more people, if you will, are going to talk about this young man. Can he eventually play in the NFL? Is he too short? They say he is 6 feet. I've been around Drew Brees this year. He's very close to being as tall as Drew. And what reminded me, Kirk, is that rolling out to the left, which is what Brees does so well with the New Orleans Saints. Get himself passing lanes and stepping away. He's not one of those 6'5" gunners.
Same temperament as far as being a real gamer and a student of the game at the college level when Drew was at Purdue.
So he steps away from pressure. He feels it, throws deep, going to Young again.
You know, the great thing about Kellen, this offense is tough to prepare for. And Oregon State told us yesterday, the defensive coordinator, Mark Banker, said, you know, the confusion, the guys are coming in, the personnel groupings are constantly changing and evolving. So you try to match the personnel. What I like is once they bring in the different groups, then they break the huddle typically pretty quickly. They get to the line of scrimmage pretty quickly. And a lot of times, Kellen Moore with a fast snap count, it keeps the defense really on its heels.
2nd down and 10. Sets the screen. And nothing doing. It was read beautifully. There is a story, Herbie. You made a good point about how quickly they get the playoff. Now, you see that wristband? Mm-hmm. Those are numbers, and they signal it in because some of the plays at Boise State are very wordy. One obviously is hot, and I think it's pretty easy to figure out which one is calling the play over there. But at any rate, that's why Oregon State only uses one. But then he looks down at the number, and he quickly is able to set the play in the huddle.
Absolutely, and it moves quickly. And right now they're a little bit slower tempo with a 14-point lead. But earlier in this game, it was moving fast, trying to get up to that line and catch Oregon State out of position.
Again, stepping away from trouble, coming up, and a one-hopper incomplete.
And you always hear coaches talking about pocket presence. And when you throw 39 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, you don't get sacked very often. You give the line some credit. But just a little thing like that, that isn't necessarily tremendous athletic ability. That's just an awareness, stepping up away from the defender, Olander, and in a position where you can at least have a chance to make an accurate throw.
If you just joined us, by far the most exciting play of the night was the lone Oregon State touchdown. James Rogers returned a punt 54 yards for the score. And he is back deep now to field this punt. And remember what the coach said to Aaron Andrews? Doesn't like the exchange of field position. Need better kicks. So they're going to run it over to the right. And they're just going to get it off, kick it away from him. And that'll set it down inside the 20. So the coach gets his wish as Kellen is on the phone talking upstairs. Boise State, the number 3 team in the nation, leads it by 2 touchdowns. Sophomore quarterback Ryan Katz brings Oregon State to the line here for their first series in this second half. Down 2 touchdowns, and they have been bottled up by an underrated Boise State defense. Quiz turns loose from one man, but not the second. And let's go down to Aaron Andrews. Aaron, Coach can't be happy about his offense.
Well, Coach Riley always speaking with a smile despite how far he's down in the game, but he did say he wants his team to execute, make plays, be patient here. His evaluation for his quarterback Ryan Katz in the first half, Brent, he says he just needs to take a deep breath. He said he's going to go back and watch film on this game and say, gosh, I had some guys wide open, but he said he's very excited for this second half. Feels like it could go the Beavers' way. We'll have to see.
Well, here is Katz facing a 2nd and 9. Back in the pocket. There's that deep strike arm, and it is complete to Jordan Bishop, the track man, number 23, and that was a fine throw.
Great throw. There's that strong arm again. And this is a route because it's a levels route that takes a lot of time to be able to develop. One receiver just clears out a defender. Another receiver is down underneath. You can see the receiver that's clearing out to give the room there for this time Bishop to be able to operate. Aaron Nichols doing a good job of taking a safety deep and giving him an opening. And Ryan Katz, when he has time to throw, steps in and fires that ball.
27 yards. And now they jump into the Wildcat. And one brother hands it off to James. And Quiz is thrown down, and they thought that should have been flagged for a personal foul over here on the sideline.
I think they wanted either a face mask or a horse collar, one or the other. Oregon State pretty animated on the sideline. Grabs the side of his helmet, grabs a hold of the back of the jersey, and Oregon State, good reason to be upset.
Second and 10. Now Katz will go back up under center. Alex Leninkohl, senior from Olympia. Under fire, throws complete. And that's to James Rogers, number 8. And another good throw. So Katz has a strong arm. There is no question about that, and he's delivered 2 good throws here.
We were talking about Kellen Moore in the NFL, and always, you want to see if guys have that NFL arm. Well, there's no question about Ryan Katz. I think he can make any throw on this field. And when these guys are giving him enough time to be able to get back, be in rhythm, and step and make a throw, I tell you, this guy he's got all the goods.
You can see how woeful they've been on 3rd down. Here's another one. Play action. Katz rolling to the right. He's got James covered in front of him. Can he get it as a runner? Cannot. Out of bounds. 4th down. Wait a minute. He picked it up. He said he was not out. Hang on here. Chris Peterson was right over there. This was a fine play on the far side, Herbie. I thought he was bottled up, and unfortunately, James Rogers is down right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to look back at this. Let's keep a close eye on James Rogers, but Brent Katz comes over, and you're thinking he might throw it, decides to run. There's James Rogers at the top, gets pushed in the back. Jamar Taylor's fighting, and right here, he doesn't give up on the play. The only question is, did his right foot ever step out of bounds? Boy, James Rogers takes a big hit from Winston Venable.
That side judge is right over there watching right now. He's from behind, taking a look at it. We will step away right now as James Rogers is down after that hit. Let's hope the young man's okay. We'll be right back.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online, only at southwest.com. Fusion, the 2010 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Get in and drive one. And AT&T, rethink possible.
Known as the Basque Block on Grove Street, downtown Boise. There were a lot of Basque immigrants who came to this part of the country. A lot of shepherds moved here from Spain And they're keeping the Bass culture alive in Boise. And James Rogers walked off under his own power. Good to see him. And now his brother is back in the Wild Beaver. Spins and can't get much.
Oregon State's players.
Tevis throws him back, and Quiz objects to how he was manhandled. That's Tevis, the linebacker, I believe.
These Oregon State players off the field or on the bench are actually coming onto the field when he first went down.
And some coaches quickly jump out and get him back.
Yeah, they almost cleared the bench there after the hit on James Rogers and then having Quiz taken down on that play. But the previous play where James got hurt, he did walk off while we were away at a break, and we did look at a good replay to show that Ryan Katz did stay in bounds. There was no argument at all, and great effort there to pick up that first down.
Here is a look at it, and it is a great shot. Right foot clearly stays in bounds, then the left dives for the first down, and a fine play by Katz. And here he is with a 2nd and 10. Using Wheaton end around. Katz is going to go for the home run ball. Double covered, incomplete. Went for the deep strike to Darrell Catchings, the junior from Escondido.
When you lose James Rogers in the passing game, you're talking about a big part of this offense. And Wheaton is going to have to be the guy, Brent, I think, that's going to have to step up if James Rogers has to stay out. And they tried to find Darrell Catchings downfield with a big throw, but the timing just not there between Catchings, a young man that doesn't play much, and Ryan Katz.
Katz slips the first one, but not the second. Ran back into more trouble as he scrambled away. And there is a penalty flag.
Ryan Katz is dropped.
He's still a little bit woozy, folks. That was the one thing we noticed when he came out.
No doubt.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting number 40 on the defense. 15 yards. We will look to see if it is first down.
That is Tyrone Crawford, and that will incur the wrath of Chris Peterson. That's the sort of thing that he does not tolerate.
Not at all. And Tevis, the linebacker, is going to come around and get the pressure. Confusion on the offensive line. You can see how they weren't able to slide over, and it looked like Burke Ellis, the right guard, that wasn't able to slide and pick him up. But what a break for Oregon State, not converting on 3rd down.
15-yard penalty.
And I don't know if there was some words exchanged.
No question on that replay. Yeah. He was bent over and looking down, Herbie.
Yes, sir.
And he was bellowing at him. Won't like that. No way.
That's how you get off the field in Boise.
Absolutely. First down and 10. At the 31-yard line. Going to set Quiz on the short pass, and Byron Hout, the middle linebacker, comes up with a great play.
Great vision by Byron Hout this time, and sitting back in a zone defense, head was on a swivel, and boy, did he just come right downhill in a hurry as soon as Katz dropped it off. Quiz Rogers, usually very dangerous isolated against those linebackers. Hout came down and didn't give him much of a chance.
High and dropped, incomplete. And that'll bring up another 3rd down as Katz takes another hit. You know, it's interesting talking to the coaches, the Boise State coaches, and asking them, what do you think people think about the Boise State team? And they laugh, and they say to you, there's 2 versions. Fans think we're this gimmick team and a scoring machine. But if you talk to coaches now who work against them, like Mike Riley, they say this is a physical football team.
Blue-collar, hard-hitting, tenacious defense.
And they have shown it here tonight. 3rd down and 10. Four-man rush. Katz runs away from it. Can he get to the marker this time? He cannot.
It's like he was trying to use the umpire as a shield, and another flag comes in late. Remember the last third down, Oregon State didn't convert, picked up the personal foul and got the first down. Now another late flag comes in right where Cats went down.
Personal foul, number 17, unnecessary roughness from the defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Seems like it's getting a little chippy out there. A little bit of taunting going back and forth. Venable was the man who hit James Rogers and knocked him out of the game. This time it looks like he's coming in a little bit late on Ryan Katz. Ryan Katz does a good job again, Brent, identifying that the linebackers cleared out, picks up as many yards as he can. And boy, Venable led with his head, but he didn't make contact. But he did lead with his head, but I don't think he hit him.
I don't either. And there's no question he led with that helmet. 1st and 10. Here comes Quiz Rogers, slicing and dicing.
Awfully tough to get yards down when you bring tight ends in, and it's a real tight formation against Boise State. Much easier down in this red zone, of course, to spread them out with receivers and try to find Quiz a little bit of a seam or some running room. But when you line up with a kind of a bunch formation, a goal line formation, you're kind of running uphill against these blue jerseys.
Steps away, takes off with that athletic ability across the 5, but that'll bring up the 3rd down, and they can get a first down without scoring here. And down 2 touchdowns, you would think that Mike Riley and the coaching staff here will go 4 downs in this situation to get the first down of the touchdown.
Brent, remember when you mentioned Austin Pettis? He sat out after a touchdown? How about Winston Venable, your leader on defense, makes a mistake? Late hit, leading with your head, big play, crucial point in the game, sit on the sideline.
No nonsense. Here's your power look. Quiz shakes free, touchdown. They had him. Iloka was there, and they could not bring him down. And James Rogers' brother goes into the end zone, and it is game on the blue turf once again.
All of a sudden, Oregon State has a little bit of confidence here in this second half. Here's the leg drive and the power of Jacquizz Rogers. You know, last year he was quick, he was slippery, but I think you're seeing him break away from tackles, arm tackles, a lot more this year with that added 10 pounds. He is a strong, strong young man.
Okay, Hoot is a little shaky. He missed a field goal, and he was pulling that extra point all the way. But well, there is the most sought-after trophy in all of college athletics, the Coach's Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper to the winner of the BCS championship. Wouldn't Boise State love to get its hands on that? Oh, yes, sitting number 3. Alabama surviving. They'll stay number 1. Ohio State rolling. And here's the kickoff, and Titus Young takes it out of the end zone. Powerful return man. And a penalty flag comes flying. Is this still another mistake on Boise State here tonight?
Well, if there's one area that's been a hindrance to this program this year, it has been the penalties. Possibly their 7th penalty on the night.
Holding, number 27, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And let's go to Robert Flores in New York for an update.
All right, Brent, here's a taste of what's going on in the ESPN family of networks. The Primetime Pulse. South Carolina leads Auburn in the 4th quarter, but Auburn is driving deep into territory for South Carolina. And the first meeting between West Virginia and LSU in Baton Rouge. LSU leading West Virginia 17-0, 2nd quarter in Death Valley.
All right, Robert, and here we get a 1-touchdown game. Toss play for Boise State to Martin. And Martin breaks a tackle and breaks free. Crosses midfield. Still on his feet. Can't bring him down. Battling to the 25. What a powerful running back that young man is.
Well, Brent, we've been talking about him all night, and this will give you an idea how physical he really can be in the open field when he has a chance to run downhill. Look at him, look at this safety, Lance Mitchell. Mitchell doesn't do a very good job, but it was good contact, but he didn't wrap up. And against Doug Martin, if you don't wrap up, his leg strength will allow him to bounce off. Like he ran out of bounds there, didn't he?
It was very close. That is very close.
Yeah, he definitely.
Too late now. They get another snap in. Jeremy Avery, number 27, quickly came from the sideline after that 55-yard run.
Kellen Moore and Chris Peterson, hurry up, snap that football.
And again, a well-coached team. That's exactly what you should do in that situation. Long run. We're looking at the exciting part. Maybe the sideline review isn't up quick enough, so instant replay doesn't get a fair shot at it. Second down and 12. Coming around is Young on the end around, and he's shy of the 20-yard line. Boy, these two wide receivers, folks, Titus Young and Austin Pettis, and along with the running back Doug Martin, they're giving all the NFL scouts who are next to us a big eyeful. Now, Doug is only a junior out of Stockton, the running back. You don't know what he would decide. Obviously, Pettis and Young are going to get a crack at the league, as both are seniors. That's Titus. He's out of Los Angeles, and Pettis is right down the road in Anaheim. Third down and 3. Before the snap.
Both start. Offense, number 87, 5 yards. Third down.
That's their 8th penalty of the night, and that's, again, another way to drive any coach, but especially Chris Peterson, crazy. They averaged 9.5 penalties on the year coming into tonight.
Now, he's objecting to that. He thinks that Gabe Linehan, one of his H-backs tight ends, was allowed to do that. When you see Chris arguing like that, he's got a point.
Yeah.
He didn't go after the player. So here we go now, third down. Deflected away, and a penalty flag comes flying. Pettis, the intended target. Cameron Collins interfered with him.
Very similar to the earlier pass interference call we saw in the end zone. The right arm, in this case with Collins, came around Pettis.
Defense, number 5. Spot foul, automatic first down.
Again, Collins is a safety who has moved to linebacker, and in a nickel situation, pretty athletic in space, but he can't see it there, but his right hand locked on to Pettis, preventing him from having a chance to make that catch. There's the right arm right there, and he comes around. Again, good technique with the left hand, but you can't lean on a receiver and pull him in towards you.
Matt Kaiserman back in as the running back. Second time we've seen him tonight. And that's Dwight Roberson making the defensive play.
That almost had the look to it like he actually wanted to throw that football.
Might be why he's been in there.
Yeah, Kaiserman kind of, that might be a play they're setting up to come back to later. And I actually happened to watch Kellen Moore as he handed it off, and what happened to him on the backside. He was all alone. Nobody followed him back to the backside. Maybe they come back to that play later on a throwback to Kellen Moore.
Martin checks back in as the running back. Kellen fires middle, touchdown! He hits Tyler Shoemaker, the junior from nearby Meridian, Idaho. Here's Brotzman. And it's a 2-touchdown advantage for Boise State again.
Boise State has done a great job with multiple receivers of getting matchups one-on-one against safeties. This time it's Lance Mitchell trying to stay with Shoemaker, and a safety cannot stay with a wide receiver in one-on-one coverage. Mitchell doesn't have any chance to be able to stay with him in space like that, and especially with Kellen Moore. First touchdown pass, by the way, he's thrown all year where he did not have play action. He was able to get into rhythm, back in the pocket, and threw that football perfectly. But pitch and catch for Boise State with their receivers matched up one-on-one against the Oregon State safeties.
The question now becomes for Oregon State, and I see that already they have sent Marcus Wheaton out onto the field. Remember, James Rogers shaken up, and he is off the field right now. Let's check in with Aaron.
Brent, James Rogers is out of the game. Oregon State's training staff would not confirm if he lost consciousness when he was hit, but they did say, quote unquote, he was in La La Land. Very troubling sight on the sideline. They had to take his helmet away because he was trying to run on the field. He's walking up and down the sideline looking for his helmet, asking his teammates, what happened to me? Who hit me? His brother Jacquez had to just basically tell him, sit down, you have a head injury. He's still walking around looking for his helmet. It's very unsettling, Brett.
Well, he has an uncle by the name of Michael Lewis. Played at Colorado. I covered many of his games, and he's a fine safety now for the San Francisco 49ers. This is a tough family. They come to play.
See his leadership down there, even though he's not playing, he's still involved.
And there's Poyer coming out. Poyer with a seam, and he slips down at the 28-yard line. So speaking of the San Francisco 49ers in the National Football League, we'll check in with Chris Berman and the gang. Here are some of the stories. Can the Cowboys turn it around? They're 0-2. What went wrong? And Steeler linebacker Lamar Woodley in the Sports Science Lab. And they're going to have a guest picker tomorrow. That's right. They're taken out after game day. Justin Timberlake.
Dead ball fouls on both teams. Personal foul on the kicking team. Personal foul on the receiving team. Penalties will offset. First down.
Let's take a little look at what happened
It's been
here.
a little feisty here in the second half for both teams. Oh yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, that's a good way to get thrown out of the football game.
You can't throw a punch like that.
Tommy Smith taking a swing.
Let me tell you something. They're going to see that in the tape.
Yeah.
I mean, you're now in the second half, and even if they don't do it right now, you're going to be out of here and for part of the next game. You can't throw a punch.
No, not at all.
Chris knows it right now.
Yeah. When coach talks, you just listen, and you got to take a seat.
So here they are bringing Wheaton in the James Rogers role right now. The young man has great speed. We don't know how sturdy he is as Brandon Thompson makes the play.
The angles that this defense take and the way they swarm to the football. You know, defenses work on this in practice all the time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and they get tired of doing it. Then all of a sudden you turn on the game film and you find out if they actually do it in a game. And Boise State's one of these defenses that every time they've got guys swarming to the football, taking great pursuit angles.
And I'd be very surprised if coach lets Tommy Smith, number 33, come back in the game after that incident. Cats goes down low. Wheaton goes to the ground to get it, and it's ruled incomplete that he trapped the ball.
It looked like he got his hands under, but maybe after the ball actually got to him, maybe it fell through. It's close enough to take another look, I would think. Or not.
Third and 10. Incomplete. Clearly that one. Daryl Catchings, the target.
I think that time Ryan Katz just felt the pressure closing in on him. His line didn't give him much of a chance. And again, third down has just been a nightmare all year long for Oregon State. They've caught a couple breaks on their last drive where there were penalties against Oregon State. But again, there's pressure. They brought the blitz from the corner. Ooh. Gavins takes a big hit right when he followed through on that football.
Oh, Gavins went right over the top, Herbie, and just raked him. That was accidental, obviously, but he really got into him with his feet. Young bobbles it, free ball. Oregon State's got it. It'd be down right there. So Rashad Reynolds, a corner from Los Angeles, California, comes up with the loose football.
Special teams have been big tonight for Oregon State. Reynolds comes up here, gives Oregon State the football back just when it looked like Boise State might be taking complete control of the game. Another costly mistake here. Remember the big return by James Rogers. There have been some plays where Oregon State's being dominated if you look at the offensive numbers, but there's little areas where they've been able to hang around. Now let's see if they can capitalize on this chance.
Short-handed without James Rogers. Out for the rest of the game. They send 3 receivers to the right. It's in Ryan Katz's hands. Can he make plays down the stretch? Here comes Quiz. No more than a yard into the teeth of that defense. Do they win again?
I'm glad you said that game falls into the hands of Ryan Katz, because even with James Rogers sitting there on the sideline for the rest of this game, it's still going to come down to Ryan Katz's ability to make some of those throws that we saw him make earlier. Quiz Rogers is not going to be able to do this alone running the football. Katz has got to make some throws down the field to stretch Boise's defense.
Katz, good athlete, runs away from the pressure, fires back to the middle. Got it! Stumbling, fumbling, touchdown Oregon State. Joe Halahuni falls on the ball in the end zone, and the Beavers are back again as Daryl Catchings caught it and turned it loose.
Rumbling, fumbling, stumbling. Catchings makes the catch, but Jerron Johnson, he could have called a fair catch for the interception there. He mistimed his jump, and the ball just sailed right over top of him and fell into the hands of Catchings. That was crazy.
Okay, who tacks on the extra point?
Brett Katz, the athletic ability of Katz has been really, really important on some of the bigger passes. He breaks contain, pressure's coming in, Akery's right in his face, but he makes a mistake. He throws back against his body just up to the middle of that defense. If Jerron Johnson's able to time his leap up, look at the football. It's just sailing, hanging up there. Johnson jumps a little bit too early. Give Catchings a lot of credit for making that grab, but then the big hit there that jars the ball loose. And as you said, Halahuni in the right place to pick up that touchdown.
I got to tell you, Herbert, you mentioned a hit. That Jamar Taylor on the corner for Boise. Physical. He will come up and knock your helmet off.
Yes, he will. Sophomore.
He jars that ball loose down there.
And can anything else go
Watch
right
21 come over. They're hanging in the neighborhood, folks. Oregon State of the Pac-10 against Boise State in its last year in the WAC. Next year they'll move to the Mountain West, just as Utah leaves the Mountain West for the Pac-10 and BYU leaves it to go independent. But Fresno State and Nevada will also join Boise State in the Mountain West. And here is Young. Dangerous, great speed. Close to midfield again. Well, a reminder, doesn't get any better than this one on Monday night, 8:30 p.m. The Packers and the Bears. Shades of Vince Lombardi and George Halas. It doesn't get any better than that one. How about them Bears, huh? 2-0. Go down to Dallas. What is wrong with those Cowboys?
They got the Texans this week, too.
Yeah, their Texans are pretty physical now.
Sure are.
They beat up on them in a preseason game. Here's Avery in as the running back for Boise State. Toss play. Avery likes to run in space, battles for a yard and a tough yard. Oregon State coming alive. To Imane. One of the Hawaiian youngsters on this Oregon State team.
Yeah, you don't have nearly the toughness when Avery checks into the game. More of a scat back, guy who can take a direct snap in a kind of a wildcat package. Oregon State still hanging tough up front, battling this Boise State offensive front.
So we have come to the end of the third quarter. The money quarter is coming up, and this presentation of Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. With Kirk Herbstreit and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brent Musburger, and we welcome you back to the start of the fourth quarter. Boise State leads Oregon State, but only by a touchdown. After that fine return by Titus Young, Kellen Moore, the Boise State quarterback, who's thrown for 3 touchdowns, completes his first pass here to Kyle Efaw. And now, Herbie, take a look at the Pacific Life game summary for us.
Well, James Rogers kept Oregon State in this game early with a 54-yard punt return and kind of gave them some life, and I think got them to believe that they could come on the road and have a chance. But Kellen Moore has been pretty much unstoppable when he's had time to throw. Very accurate, much of it off of play action. But Ryan Katz, it wasn't the prettiest throw, but somehow, some way, it works out. Johnson mistimes his jump. Catchings makes the catch. The big hit here. And then all of a sudden, Hulahini has a chance to fall in it for the touchdown to get him back within 7.
Now on third down, throws for the first down, and a fine catch by Shoemaker, who has one of the 3. But hold on, there's a penalty flag. Only 3 penalties on Oregon State tonight, and 8 on Boise State.
Personal foul, number 5 on the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That is Cameron Collins, guilty of pass interference earlier. Now the personal foul, and that is a huge penalty. Coach Riley cannot be happy about this.
Both of these teams in a second half, and it's been mainly with the defenses coming in for an extra hit. And even though it's a gray area right there late there with Collins, you cannot do that when with the game on the line. It costs you 15 yards.
Made the call against both teams now, and there was movement in the line. A handoff. Gabe Miller making the play defensively, and no penalty, so everybody was okay.
Gabe Miller
Looked
in there.
Strange to me.
It did. It looked like there definitely was a little bit of movement. Maybe they didn't quite cross the line, but I did see Tony Wilson, the linebacker. Gabe Miller, you talked about crashing down. Boise State came into this game averaging about 221 yards a game on the ground. Tonight they only have 109. Most of the damage, again, has been by Moore throwing the football when they get their defensive backs isolated one-on-one.
2nd and 9 for Moore. Brings the end around. Young puts it in his hands, and he's short of the first down. To Imane. Knocked him out of bounds before he could get the first down.
And one way, if you're struggling to get yards in the middle, is you got to get it out on the perimeter. And Martin has not had a chance to get out there. Avery, Harper, when he's been in there, it's been more and more Titus Young on the reverse to try to just get him out to make this Oregon State defense tackle in space, an area that coming into the game was really a problem. They really struggled in their first 2 weeks, but doing a much better job of pursuing and closing in on these ball carriers at Boise State tonight.
Jeremy Avery and Matt Kaiserman are now in the field. Kaiserman looked like he was going to throw, remember? But it'll be Kellen, and it's deflected, incomplete, and there is a penalty flag. Injured
Holding.
player is Taylor
Number 64
Henry.
offense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Brunell Myers. So take a look now at number 64. As you can see, the injured man is Henry. Watch this now.
Right tackle just reaches out with his right arm and just tries to lock on and gets a hold of that jersey. Dwight Roberson trying to go right by him. The bear claw there from the right tackle, Myers.
Penalty is declined, 4th down.
Now that's sort of interesting. That is fascinating because that's a very makeable field goal he just gave Boise State. He wants him to go for the field goal here.
Not only that,
So,
I don't know if he has confidence trying to defend Kellen Moore one more time on 3rd down. But it is definitely.
It's a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah.
And that would bring the ball back outside the 25-yard line. This is an interesting decision by Oregon State. Bronzman is on the field. The holder is Austin Pettis, and remember the wide receiver has already thrown for a touchdown here tonight. But it's only a 7-point lead, so let's see what Chris Peterson wants to respond with. This will be a 33-yard field goal. This is his comfort zone, the right hash. He'll take the points. So Riley wanted it stuck on a 10 rather than gambling and making it 14 if he lost. Timeout. Nobody leaving. Kyle Bronzman returns to the kickoff duties. Poyer. And they send him to that sideline. That is just a good kickoff and a pretty good return under the circumstances. I want to take a look at the big picture today, brought to you by Sony. We had so many wonderful stories. Alabama under the gun at the hands of Arkansas. They rally and pull it out. They'll stay #1. And then the shocker in Austin. UCLA of the Pac-10 beating Texas of the Big 12. And take no prisoners, Harbaugh does it again as Stanford dominates the Irish Herbie.
Going for 2 late in the game, and a Pac-10 with UCLA coming on. Arizona beating Iowa last week, and Stanford.
So here comes Ryan Katz. He's 4 of 8 this half for 64 yards. He starts with a draw play. They want to keep Quiz involved. And no more than a yard. Let's go to Robert Flores in New York for an update, Robert.
All right, Brent, update from the SEC where Auburn trying to make it 5 straight wins over South Carolina. Cam Newton has 5 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 2 through the air. This one to Emory Blake, and South Carolina trailing by 8 late in the 4th. And the Utah Utes, undefeated. They're leading San Jose State 56-3. And of course, they're a member of the Mountain West. Boise State will be a member of that conference next year.
Here we are, 2nd down and 9 for Oregon State. Katz off a play fake. A little bit of a confusion, but he completes it for a 1st and 10. Halahouni makes still another catch. That junior from Graham, Washington is a good-looking H-back tight end.
Another corner blitz, and this time nobody is out there. And the key there is Quiz Rogers, the running back, did just enough to pick up Jamar Taylor to give Katz enough time. There was a vacated zone off to the left. Give Katz not only recognition for being able to find the receiver, but also a good throw to give Halahouni a chance to get up there and pick up some big yards for the Beavers.
Oregon State needs 2 scores. Down 10. Got 11-21. Here running the end around is Wheaton with that great breakout speed, and he steps out of bounds at about the 46-yard line of the Broncos.
Wheaton has kind of become that guy. And I think you and I had an indication, even if James Rogers didn't get hurt, that Wheaton as a sophomore, I think is going to be a talent that eventually will emerge for Oregon State once they get into conference play. Just a sophomore, but gives him another dimension because of the speed and how he can get downfield and come around on those jet sweeps.
Ryan Katz, a sophomore from Santa Monica, back in the gun. Beautiful pocket, great throw for the 1st down to Jordan Bishop.
Got to get the ball out quick. Katz in rhythm, gets rid of that football. The reason you have to get rid of the ball is because of the hit that you just saw. And the receiver knows coming into traffic like that, he's got to get down and protect himself. Bishop, nice job of holding on to the football. But again, Katz recognizing that he's throwing it into a lot of traffic, had to put a little bit of extra on at that time to give Bishop a chance to catch it and get down.
3rd start for the young man. Confidence starting to grow. Got a big arm. As coach said, you can throw it through a wall. We just don't know which wall. Here's a play action, roll right. Incomplete. Brandon Thompson was the corner with good coverage on that. He's a senior out of Elk Grove, California. Many of the key players on this Boise State team have been recruited from California. They do an outstanding job of identifying talent. They don't recruit 5 stars, but Mike Riley will tell you when they get finished, they produce 5 stars here. Very well coached football team. Now Riley trying to come back. Second and 10. Katz, pressure from the left, steps away, out of bounds. Receiver and the football both out of bounds. If you were with us all game, we had a play in the first half where a receiver was shoved out of bounds, came back in, and scored a touchdown as the defensive back was pointing at the official saying he can't come back in. The college rule is quite clear. You can come back in if you were pushed out, and it was marked by the official when he threw his hat. It was a superb call, and it resulted in a Boise State touchdown, and it was a learning moment for Oregon State. Third down and 10. Here comes Quiz, surrounded, penalty flag, starts back, still dancing.
Interesting call there on 3rd down and 10 with a draw that did not catch Boise State off guard at all. Probably going to have a holding call on top of it. Decline this, set up 4th down.
Holding offense, penalties decline. 4th down.
A little bit out of sync there, those last few plays.
If they're going to have a fake, Herbie, that you mentioned in the first half, they got to do it now. They're down 2 scores. We're inside of 10 minutes. This young man was a high school quarterback. Walk on. He's a punter. As Herbie reported in the first half, he has thrown a completion. Chris Potter, a wide receiver, is on the field. Doesn't hesitate. And the ball is downed and said it was in. It will come out in the 20 because it's a touchback. NFL, that is legal to knock it back. But here the ball breaks the plane in the college game, and it'll come out on the 20-yard line. Timeout.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Dr. Pepper, there's nothing like a pepper.
Boise, the capital of the state of Idaho, with the lights on tonight. And the Boise State Broncos leading it by 10 with 9.5 minutes. They've got the ball back. Running Martin as we take a look at tonight's extraordinary performance, brought to you by the new ABC show, No Ordinary Family. And Herbie, it was one special teams play after another that has allowed Oregon State to be even this close.
I think the special teams clearly have kept him in his football game. That big return by James Rogers early, I think, gave him a lot of life. And I think they've done everything they can in the right areas to try to win a football game and steal one on the road on the blue turf. Unfortunately, their offense didn't help them out on that last sequence of plays.
2nd and 7 for Boise State. Dropping it off to Martin. Trying to pick up the first down. We want to remind you that No Ordinary Family premieres September 28th at 8/7 Central on ABC. So if you want to see some outstanding things, check in with No Ordinary Family. Tuesday night, season premiere.
Kellen Moore, the epitome of taking what the defense gives you, even in these kind of situations. Now down a little under 8.5 minutes to go in the game, working with a 10-point lead. He's going to have to throw the ball occasionally, but the big thing is just playing smart here, trying to pick up first downs and chew up as much clock as he can.
Thrown for 288 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tried to get the first down himself. Had to stick with it. Behind the right guard, Will Lawrence. trying to open that hole over there for number 11.
Actually gonna, okay, give him the first down. On one hand, you think about chewing the clock and trying to be smart. On the other hand, you think about there are a lot of people watching this game and kind of measuring Boise State and want to see if Boise State's this team that should be up in the top 2 or top 3 in the BCS standings. And remember, style points, I think, apply to Boise State more than any other team in the country, maybe outside of TCU.
Here's Martin again. As you watch the game on the blue carpet, Gene Blameyer, the athletic director, was his idea. So he was coming home and he went to the president. He said, I've got this crazy idea. I'd like to have a blue football field. I'd like to give us an identity. And the president told him, well, let me think about this for a while. And so Gene would go home and, well, you know what he would do, folks? He would turn on his TV set to a baseball game and he would turn the tent control button, you know, until the green became blue. And he said, that doesn't look so bad after all. And as you look down on this field, you just have to wonder, what would it look like if it was a green field as Martin barges for a tough first down here on the blue.
Love how this kid runs the football and the power and the leg drive threat. Safeties come up and they almost wish they didn't come up to try to tackle him. Nice job up front too. That time Joe Kellogg came around and picked up a nice block, and one of the first times really we've seen Martin get to that second level. Maybe the second time we've seen it tonight where he got to the second level with a little bit of momentum.
So what do you coaches who vote think out there now? Texas? You had Texas up there in the top 5. They lose today. Alabama survives a scare. They get by with the W. Ohio State rolls. Oh, I just got word from our truck. Bill Bonnell and Derek Mobley have told me that our TD can show you what it would look like green. How about that, huh?
Boy, it looks like the Miami Hurricanes.
John Zippe is our outstanding TD. And look at how he paints that. Well, that's what the AD did to figure out whether or not the blue would look good. That's how he experimented, okay? Now, are you aware that there's a red field in Washington?
Yeah, we showed that this morning on game day. That's crazy.
Eastern Washington. Yeah. The Inferno.
Talk about your TV needing an adjustment.
Well, whoever televises those games back to Missoula needs some different cameras, I'm told. Nobody could see the game. Second down and 8. And here comes Martin again. And he is stopped short of the first down. And here's what Herbie and I are talking about. There it is, folks. Known as the Inferno. And it's about, what, 10, 15 degrees warmer? There they are. Kicking a field goal. And the Grizz go down to a huge defeat in the Inferno. And here we are. It all began with this field and Gene Blameyer.
I think it works here. I don't know about that.
You're not buying the red yet?
Not buying the red just quite yet.
Third down and 2. You don't think the Buckeyes should go to a red field? Okay.
No.
Run the toss play. And Martin breaks it again. Down to the 20-yard line. Now this is an interesting point in this game.
It is an interesting time, and it is another example where Martin's able to run through 1, 2, 3 tackles and eventually be brought down as they continue to wear down Oregon State.
These are the times that really try Chris Peterson. He's not a guy who likes to run up scores. Likes to win the game and go on to the next game. Would just as soon that the polls and all these debates would go far, far away. But here he is now. He's up 10. He's got 4:16 to go. And you know that some of those coaches who went to bed early without watching the game will see the final score without watching it. And trust me, humans are influenced by the margin of score. And a reminder to stay tuned after this game for your late local news over most of these ABC stations, and over on ESPN. Tune over to SportsCenter for post-game analysis, as well as today's scores and highlights. Inside the red zone here, Herbie.
They get down here, and typically they start to find ways to get the ball to Pettis or their tight ends. But let's see if Chris Peterson, who, they're only up 10. I mean, they're only up 10 with 3.5 to go.
Keeping it on the ground and bringing Young on that end around. What a big all-purpose night he has had. We came in raving about James Rogers, but it is Young who has turned in the all-purpose night here. And Martin has run for 138. Moore has thrown for 288. But Young has also rushed for 18, and he's caught 136 yards of passes, and he's returned several kickoffs and punts here tonight.
Yeah, he's put on a show tonight. And the first time we saw this team, we came in expecting Titus Young to be the guy, and of course Austin Pettis ended up stealing the show that night against Virginia Tech. But no doubt about it, Titus Young showing us in all of America what he can do.
3rd and 4. Avery came in short of the first down. Now here comes the kicking unit, right?
Brent, prior to that 3rd down, it was Austin Pettis stating his case from the middle of the field, trying to show the coaches what play to call to keep him in, to call a pass play, and he's trying to state his case, and Chris Peterson just said, come off the field. We're running the ball here, and he just kind of looked dejected. But that's who Chris Peterson is.
30-yarder. Now Austin Pettis, who he was talking about, he's the holder. Puts it down for Bronzman, who nails it. Hey, how about that? 2 for 2 from the left hash. Great night for that young man tonight. Let's give him a round of applause, folks. 37-24. Well, the baseball season is winding down, but we can still check in on one of the greatest rivalries in all of sport. Red Sox and Yankees. Can the Red Sox help spoil the Yankees' bid to win the American League East? Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And Kirk Herbstreit, your Cincinnati Reds have had some season, my friend. Are they going to hang on here?
They're hanging on for dear life.
Well, here's the kickoff now, and Oregon State will field it. There is the young man. Of course, they're without James Rogers here tonight, and so Jordan Poyer has been the key guy. As you look around the landscape, Herbie, I'm curious as to who's going to replace Texas in the top 5. Who do you think will climb in there now?
Well, I had Oregon actually up pretty high last week, and of course they're playing tonight against Arizona State. And Oklahoma is a team that is out there that a lot of people are high on, but struggling today against Cincinnati. Right. Nebraska, another team from the Big 12, is a team that I think will continue to climb. So there's some teams, and it's interesting. The next couple weeks, I think it's really going to define itself and give you a better idea of who those 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place teams are going to be in the BCS standings.
Katz is sacked at the 22-yard line. Herbie, you mentioned the conferences and the BCS rankings. Brad Edwards has come up with a formula for ranking. AP poll 50%, of the BCS computers that are going to be used 50%. I want everybody to look long and hard at where he rates the conference that Boise State plays in, okay? Ahead of the ACC and the Big East. Now, I find that very, very interesting to complete in underneath as they move it down the field. And as you look ahead now, as they continue this, and you think about Boise State, they've got to go to Nevada.
Absolutely.
Late, and Nevada hung a 50 on California.
No doubt about it. How about the Mountain West Conference ahead of the WAC?
Exactly. So here they are in their hurry up. Incomplete. Which brings up the point. Don't overlook TCU.
That's the reason I brought it up. TCU often gets forgotten about because Boise beat TCU in last year's Fiesta Bowl. Just looking at that, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I mean, the Mountain West Conference this year with BYU playing a freshman quarterback, I don't think they have the...
Well, Utah, don't go to sleep on Utah.
No, Utah's a good team. TCU, I think Air Force is a good team, but after that, it kind of drops off. Meanwhile, the Big East, yikes.
Yes. 4th and 12. There's nothing like blue heaven for Boise State. Venable back in the game. Well, we'll come back and we'll wrap it up. Boise State will win again on the blue. Well, a reminder to stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up coming right after the game. They'll have the big stories for you and the scores, and of course you've got your late local news for those of you on ABC, and the rest of you can switch over to SportsCenter. The game day crew will have a wrap-up on the activities right here from the blue field of Boise State. And the victory formation, Herbie mentioned it, so I want to take a look at the comparative schedules between Boise State and TCU. Now take a look at those two games. TCU has to go into Salt Lake to play Utah. Meanwhile, Boise State has to go to Reno to play Nevada. Now on paper, those are two of the toughest games that those teams have ahead of them. And it is amazing that if Boise State slips, TCU could wind up very much in the thick of things for the BCS championship game, Harvey.
And the one thing that I find interesting in every conference is it's one thing to play these teams that you don't always see. You get into conference play, teams are a little bit more familiar scheming against your offense. And all of a sudden, that's where upsets are. Remember all those years USC was dominant against everybody? They'd slip up to somebody in conference play. So that still can happen to a lot of teams in these next 7 or 8, 9 weeks.
Two fine gentlemen right there. You'd like having your youngster play for either of those men. Nice to see James Rogers. We hope he's going to be okay. That was a blow to Oregon State when they lost him. There's his brother. And this talented Boise State team, underrated their defense. 72-2 at home since 1999. Best in the FBS. Fear the blue.
Another thing to look at with this is people compare BCS standings with TCU and Boise State. Remember, TCU already played Oregon State. Gave up 24. Actually, very similar numbers if you look at the stats of this game compared to the night that TCU met up with Oregon State in Arlington the opening night.
Players on these two teams, there's a lot of friends and people who played with and competed against each other in high schools. And let's check in now with Aaron and the fine young quarterback of Boise State.
Brent, thanks. Kellen, first of all, Coach Peterson told us yesterday, being on a national stage tonight, he didn't care about your team making a statement in terms of rankings. He just wanted you guys to play well. What did you want to prove tonight?
Yeah, I think just come out with a lot of energy, just enjoy this thing and have fun, and play well out in front of the national stage.
How do you guys think you played?
I think we played pretty well. That was a good team. They played neck and neck with TCU right early in the season, and they're a good football team. They got some good players.
Kirk was talking all night that you were just kind of putting on a clinic, the way you were able to distribute the ball all night. What was key in doing that?
I think it's nice when you have good wide receivers like I do, so they make me look good.
And talk about the time. It seems like you had so much time out there. Why?
Yeah, awesome job by the offensive line. Recognize when they blitz, and when they don't, they do a great job of holding up.
All right, Kellen, thank you so much.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, Brent.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. So Kellen Moore and the Boise State Broncos will thank some of their loyal fans as they head on inside and celebrate their 37-24 win. We want to thank you for watching ESPN on ABC. Now we're going to take you to Times Square for the Ford wrap-up with Robert Flores. Robert, take it away.